Alrighty. Hey everybody. I actually just wanted to create a quick video here, just outlining some different details about the Mirage that I think a bunch of different people had questions on, especially dealing with the Super 530s and the magic missiles, and really just using them to lock targets and when you can lock like when you can lock what targets and what you can do really with both missiles. So what I've done here is you can kind of see I actually just set up a quick mission here with two inbound enemies. They're just kind of headed straight on towards me here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with the Super 530s. I had a question for a while that seemed to get answers one direction and another about how you can launch the Super 530s, whether you're able to launch them in track while scan mode, or whether you can, or whether you actually have to launch them with a single target track. And I was kind of getting both answers. I was getting answers saying, oh yeah, well you can leave it you can launch the missile while in track while scan, and then like a second or later do a single target track, to like hard lock the enemy, and have the missile track that way. And then other people were saying, no, when you're in track while scan and you launch the Super 530, it's automatically going to trigger over into single target track. So I was getting kind of mixed results and everything. So I really just did this test to kind of settle everything and to show everybody the current state of the missiles and what's actually happening with the actual with the Mirage in the current build. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and just trigger my master mode and select my Super 530 as my weapon. And I'm going to go ahead and move into track while scan. I'm just going to lock on this first target closest to me here one time. And this brings me into track while scan. So you can still see, I can see the second target as well. And it looks like he is well within range. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm only in track while scan. You can see my cursor is way out of the way here. So I'm just going to go ahead and fire. And you'll see that currently, now that I've actually fired the missile, you'll see it actually, my radar went into single target track. Can't see the second enemy any longer. So that kind of dispels that one right there. So anytime that you guys are actually firing the Super 530s on a marked enemy, it is going to automatically just trigger everything directly into single target track. You cannot launch the actual Super 530s in the current build in track while scan. It automatically triggers that radar over. So that kind of dispels that question that I had for a while. The second question that I think a lot of people actually had was about slewing magics, and I didn't think it was I didn't think it was really so much of a question as other people had. I don't know, that didn't sound right. But anyways, so the thing that a lot of people were indicating that they weren't really familiar with how you could slew the magic along to a radar lock, and then drop the radar altogether and just use the magic's IR seeker to maintain lock on a target. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing back around to my targets here, and what I was explaining in a different thread how I actually it's a difficult maneuver to do in the Mirage, but when it works, it's so satisfying. And the idea was to make a sneak attack on the enemy as sneaky as possible. And what I was indicating is that you can actually you can lock onto an enemy target, and you can slew the IR, like you can slew the magic directly to the actual target. And once you're actually in close enough, you can shut the radar off and go completely radar cold and let the magic IR seeker maintain on the actual target until you're within firing range or firing distance where you can actually then launch the missile. So that's really what I'm gonna do here is I'm nicely kind of behind my enemy. This closest one's about 3.6 miles, 3.4 it says there. So I'm gonna hop back over to this one further away. He's 4.8. So I'm gonna start off just by going into track while scan. So I'm gonna pretend that this is a target that I want to pounce on. Now I'm pretty close in here. I'm gonna swing around. I'm gonna drop lock. I'm gonna do one more circle to get a little bit more distance between me and them. And I'm gonna go ahead and select my magic, my missile. So yeah, the maneuver here, it's I was explaining, it's rather difficult, tough to pull off, but very satisfying when you can, just because you have to time everything so well, and you really have to use as much stealth as you possibly can, and really good timing, and you really just have to use it as a pounce method to really jump on enemies. But it does work extremely well, and if you actually perform it properly, they really get as little notice as possible to an actual weapon launch on them. So cool. Yeah, I'm about 10 miles away from the farthest enemy now. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pretend like I'm gonna pounce on this second enemy that's about 10 miles away. So I'm gonna single target. Or I'm gonna track while scan. I'm gonna do a soft lock on him. So now he is soft locked, and you can see he's 8 miles out, and yeah, he's kind of well out of my Maverick range. Or Maverick. He's well out of my magic range. But I'm gonna go ahead and use my magic lock button to slave my magic onto the actual target. And you can see he's out of range, so when I'm actually trying to slave that magic, you can see nothing's actually happening. The IR Seeker just cannot pick up the target this far out. But I'm gonna kind of continue. I'm not sure if you guys can hear the clicking of my Warthog here in the background, but that's me just hitting my magic lock button here as we kind of approach distance. Once the IR Seeker is able to pick up the actual engine, the Seeker will actually lock onto the target. In which case there we go, right there. So yeah, about 4 miles out, you can see I'm still out of range for the actual magics, but now the Seeker is actually locked onto the heat source. So the cool thing that you can do is I'm going to shut off my radar entirely. I'm going to go completely radar cold, and you can see that the IR Seeker is still locked onto that target. Now the bad thing here is that when your radar is not turned on, you actually don't have a known distance to the actual target, so you actually lose your target ranging. But the best thing about this is that if you use it properly, then they don't actually have a marker for you on their RWR coming right behind you. So all of a sudden you just dropped off their RWR. So you're still locked on, and they have no idea that you're actually sitting right on their ass. But once you get in range here, I mean, I'm 1 mile away. I'm just going to go ahead and fire my missile, and you'll see it just maintains lock right on, and bam, splash target. So again, it's a difficult maneuver, but if you can use it to pounce on an enemy, they absolutely have no warning whatsoever that you're sitting right behind them. And I find it to be a really, really, really good way to pounce on targets, both from behind and above. Like I said, because they really have no idea that you're there. So hopefully this video kind of dispelled some myths about the current state of some of the Super 530s and the Magic missiles. And if you guys have any other questions or would like to see any other weird tests or anything, definitely let me know, because I'm definitely open to give everything a whirl. So hopefully this helps out, and yeah, if any of you guys catch me, I jump on Twitch, so hopefully I'll see you guys in the skies.